Hey guys, how's it going? Hank Still Dragon God here. Today I have some really exciting news. About Monday night, a massive news was released about Spider-Man. He's going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The article states that Sony Pictures Entertainment brings Marvel Studios into the amazing world of Spider-Man, which I think it's an absolute dumb title, to be honest, because I think it should be the other way around. So, Marvel don't own the rights to Spider-Man, but Sony and Marvel have made a deal to reboot the franchise and use them in the Marvel universe, so they can use them for Civil War and Infinity War. In this video I'm going to talk about the history of Spider-Man, my reaction to this news, and what would I like to see in the future of Spider-Man. So, my history with Spider-Man. I was introduced to it when I was about like 5 or 4 at the time. I grew up watching the 90s cartoon back when I was young, and I think it's probably my second favourite cartoon of all time. Through time I grew to wanting to know more about the guy. I have this actually, the Ultimate Guide, which I probably got this about over 10 years ago, and this is still great to read. I remember there was a spin-off to the 90s cartoon, which was Spider-Man Unlimited, which got axed off, but I really liked it because it was something new to the character, something fresh. I remember I used to play a lot of the games quite a bit. I think the games do get tried out these days because it's kind of like the same formula, but I grew up playing the PlayStation 1 games, and back in 2002, when the first Sam Raimi film came out, I think it was, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Then back in 2004, Spider-Man 2 came out, and it's such a great film overall, a great comic book film. I think it gets overlooked now these days compared to all these Marvel films. And then you have Spider-Man 3, which it has got really negative reviews, but I think it's got some great gems in that film. But overall, that Sam Raimi wanted to do something different. He wanted to split it into 2 films, and he had a great idea, to be honest. I actually would have stand by that idea, to be honest. Then, back after that, there was plans for Spider-Man 4, but Sony and Sam Raimi came to disagreements, and Sam Raimi left, and during that time Sony had no time didn't have time to come up with a sequel, so instead they rebooted it instead of just giving it back to Marvel, which I think they should have done that. So in 2012, Mark Webb, the director, directed The Amazing Spider-Man, which I don't like, but it has got, like, a lot of people do love that film, and people will put it over the Sam Raimi this first Sam Raimi film, which I wouldn't, but I can understand why. I think it has a few advantages compared to the Sam Raimi films, but I would put Spider-Man 1, 2 and 3 over The Amazing Spider-Man any day. And I remember going to see it the first time, The Amazing Spider-Man, and at the time I remember it was the same year when you had the Avengers and you had the Dark Knight Rises, 2 big blockbuster comic book films. And during the time I think I was just half asleep because I was too busy thinking about, oh, next week I'm going to see the Dark Knight Rises, can't wait. And I have watched it a couple of times on Blu-ray, but it's just not for me. I just think it's so clumsy, and I think it's just so poorly thought out. And during that time, I think after Spider-Man 3, you had the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That led to Iron Man, which was such a great hit at the time, and that kind of pushed Spider-Man to a side, and Iron Man became kind of like the new main man of Marvel now, which is a bit unfortunate, to be honest. And I remember Spider-Man wasn't even doing that too good in the media. He just had some. He had a really good cartoon, which was axed off, called the Spectacular Spider-Man, which I really liked. I think it was the second best Spider-Man cartoon. Unfortunately, that got axed off. So through time, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was getting better and better, while Sony was being really slow, haven't thought out a proper plan. So I remember in late 2013, Sony released a slot. They wanted to do Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014, Amazing Spider-Man 3 in 2016, I believe. I think Sinister 6 was going to be 2017. Then you had Spider-Man 4 at some point, and you also had the Venom, which I thought was great. They actually had a plan. I thought it was a really good idea, so I think I was willing to give them a second chance. So let me just talk about the two Spider-Mans that played, the two actors. You had Tobey Maguire, who played the first three Sam Raimi films, which I think he was a great Spider-Man, and I think he's really quite like a underrated actor, which I was a bit upset when they weren't going to reboot without him. And I think Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people can say, oh, he wasn't funny, but he was funny. And you just haven't thought of it. You haven't seen the things yet, what he can do. You missed it out. And so the reboot was played by Andrew Garfield, who's actually a British actor. In the first film, I really didn't like him. I just thought he had his alter ego, and he was just too good looking at the time. And I didn't like him in the first Amazing Spider-Man film. I didn't like any of the cast in the first Amazing Spider-Man film, to be honest. So, in 2014, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out. I thought the trailers looked really good, to be honest. And I was actually really pumped up for it. And I remember I went to see it, and I thought it wasn't bad. I thought it was okay. I think it was close to a good film. I think I gave it like a 6.5, but it had so many problems that I couldn't forgive Sony, because one, it was more like an advertisement for the sequels, the spin-offs, and also they released like four trailers with different clips, and it was kind of like the movie we seen in the trailers. But I actually really liked Amazing Spider-Man 2 a lot. I really liked Andrew Garfield more in this role, and in some ways I would put him over Tobey Maguire now. But I still prefer Tobey Maguire. I actually like the chemistry. I actually like some of the characters. I really like Andrew Garfield. I like the Rhino. Green Goblin was different-ish, but I really enjoyed it. So recently, at the time, Amazing Spider-Man 2 got really bad reviews. Wasn't going to make much money as Sony thought they did, and it was just getting horrible reviews, and people just demanded that it should go back to Marvel. And at the time, Sony actually made a slot. Even though Sony made a slot, they still didn't know what their actual plan was. They just wanted to set some dates, which sucks. And I think they pushed the Sinister 6 film back in 2016, and the Spider-Man was going to be 2017 until they can come up with ideas. So that's my history with Spider-Man. He was a superhero that I grew up and loved. Nowadays, during the whole Mark Webb, I think after Spider-Man 3, I didn't really take him seriously anymore. He had I think I didn't like that animated series he did called Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, which was horrible to watch. It's absolute torture. And I didn't like the first Amazing Spider-Man film, and the second one I actually kind of like a little bit more. So, yes. So let's talk about my reaction to this big news. So my reaction to this news, I am absolutely happy about the Spider-Man being into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which means we can actually take this superhero more seriously now, which means we're not going to expect any bad films. Marvel will have creative control. They haven't confirmed they will have creative control, but Sony, I think they're just hiding that, because at the end of the day, I think Sony only cares about the money. So Marvel will probably get a great director. They've got some great scripts for him. And this means we can actually take Spider-Man more seriously now, as we think about him. Actually makes it feels like actually we may be able to get a great film, other than, oh, is Spider-Man 3 going to be good or going to be bad? At the time, I mean, when this news came out, I remember it was like Tuesday morning. I just got up. I'm going to be late for work. I'll just check Facebook quickly to see what's going on, and I just been hearing pages of Spider-Man is going back to the Marvel at the time, and I was like, whoa. I had to go to work, then I came back and I've been reading all these articles, and I was absolutely amazed. Actually wants me to make me buy some Spider-Man comics, and I actually am looking forward to Civil War now, because Spider-Man will play a key character in it, hopefully. You can actually see Spider-Man, you will see Spider-Man in Infinity War, and there is a film coming out in 2017, which is not that far away. It's only about 2.5 months away. 2.5 months away. So that's my reaction to it. I'm absolutely happy. I feel like Spider-Man could be great again. He could be the main man of Marvel. Unfortunately, it has some side effects to it. It's not that bad, to be honest. One, Andrew Garfield won't be Spider-Man anymore, which is a bit unfortunate. But I haven't heard anything about what's Andrew Garfield's reaction. But I think he'll be alright. I think he's not bothered. I think he's already got some good films on the way. He's already doing a film with Martin Scorsese, so I think he's fine with that. And also, this also means we're not going to get the Amazing Universe and the Amazing films anymore, which is a bit. Well, I'm not fussed, because I think they were bad to begin with. I heard rumours Sony will think about doing the Sinister Six film. The only problem is the build-up from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 won't happen, doesn't count anymore, so they have to start fresh. But I think they want to do it. They got a great director. I think they have a great plan for it. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. So yeah, in 2017 we'll have our own Spider-Man film. I think 9 times out of 10, I think it's going to be a great Spider-Man film. So what would I like to see in the Spider-Man future? What would I like to see in the future of Spider-Man? Well, first off, I'd like to see who would be the new Spider-Man. 2 actors I really like to see, in my opinion, is Josh Hutcherson, who plays Peter in the Hunger Games, which I think is a really good actor. I could see him playing Spider-Man. I think he'd do a great job, but I don't think they'll go for him. And the other one, he's a little bit older. He's about 27, and that's Zac Efron. I think he's a really underrated actor. I think he works absolutely hard, but I think he's a bit old for that. But if they were doing the Amazing Spider-Man, I could see Zac Efron. But I think the 2 actors they want to do is Dylan O'Brien from Teen Wolf and the Hunger Games. I cannot judge at the moment. I cannot judge him because I haven't seen his performance. And the other one, I really like to see this one, and that's Logan Lerman from the Percy Jackson films and the latest film Fury, which he does great roles in. I think he does a great job. I think he works a great young actor today. So yeah, if I had to pick one of those 2, I think Logan Lerman, because he started off great. If you think of Dylan O'Brien, he hasn't done anything special. Teen Wolf, which is kind of like, who watches that? And Maze Runner, it's just rubbish, to be honest. It's like a rip off the Hunger Games. So I believe Spider-Man will make his first appearance in the Civil War, maybe in teasers, which I think he plays a key role in the Civil War. So I would like to see him in the Civil War, not in a major role, but maybe in like at the end credit scene when he's like swinging around and I don't know, he picks up a newspaper or something. That would be quite interesting. I would kind of like to see. It's a bit early to say it, but I would like to see the Iron Spider arm, since you can actually do it. Since you're joining with Marvel, because Tony Stark builds a suit for Spider-Man, I think that would be quite enjoyable. I would like to see that. There are people saying that they shouldn't do Peter Parker. I think they should do Miles Morales, who's kind of like a young black teenager, which I don't really think it's a good idea starting with a different kind of Spider-Man, because I think it's a bit too early to do all that stuff, but I can see it in the future. I like to see something fresh to the superhero. What villains would I like to see? Obviously, I really want to see something different. I don't want to see Green Goblin again. I think the villain I would like to see is probably... I have got quite a few ideas who I could see. I could see Kraven the Hunter. Mysterio, I really like to see Mysterio. What else? Mysterio. The Vulture is probably my #1 choice. I think he's a very great, underrated villain. He's kind of like the Falcon, really, in Captain America Winter Soldier. So I can see him flying around in New York. I think he would be great in that. Marvel will not be doing any more origin story. Thank God for that, because we didn't really need a reboot of an origin stories of the reboot anyway. And they're not going to do a love story, which is something new. I mean, a Spider-Man film without a love story, that would be something interesting, but I think they know what they're doing. So this is it, guys, my reaction to Spider-Man being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Comment, rate, subscribe. Go onto my Facebook page and subscribe to the channel and like this video. And also there's other videos I'm currently working on and I have got a top 5 things I would like to see in Digimon Tree, and also I'll be working on my reaction of the first series of Legend of Korra, and also my reaction to the first episode of Dino Charge. I see you then, guys. Peace out.